Payment Pulse, a podcast by ExplorePay, a leading full-service payment provider.
Welcome back to the Payment Pulse. I'm Shannon, and I'm here with my co-host, Michelle. Today, we're tackling one of the biggest updates in payments right now, and that's the new proposed Visa and Mastercard settlement.
Yeah, so this one has been all over the news in the merchant world. Lots of questions, lots of confusion, a whole lot of what does this actually mean for my business?
Yeah, so let's break it down in a simple Q&A style today. Let's get into it.
All right, Shannon, for anyone who wants the headlines first, what are the top 5 things merchants need to know?
This is a really good place to start. So first, Visa and Mastercard announced a proposed settlement that could slightly lower some swipe fees and give merchants some more flexibility in the cards that they choose to accept. Second, there's a 0.1% reduction for 5 years and a 1.25% cap on certain standard consumer cards for 8 years. The next thing to mention is that not all merchants are going to see big savings. The biggest benefit is for businesses with a high volume of basic non-rewards consumer cards. Merchants can still see lower costs right now, though, through things like compliant surcharging, cash discounting, Visa's new commercial enhanced data program, and transparent pricing models. And then finally, card payments dominate spending in the US, as we all know, so even small changes can make a real difference. All right, Michelle, let's talk about why this even matters. Why do swipe fees have such a big impact today?
Well, it's because cards are basically how everyone pays now. Credit cards make up around 32% of all consumer payments, followed by debit cards around 30%, with cash being used a lot less now. Roughly 72% of consumers used a credit card at least once within the past 30 days. And card networks collect tens of billions of dollars a year in interchange fees. When people are using cards constantly, even tiny fee changes can really impact merchant profitability. So this settlement didn't just appear overnight. Shannon, can you walk us through the history in a nutshell?
Absolutely. This started way back in 2005 when merchants filed a huge antitrust lawsuit against Visa and Mastercard. And then for the next decade, there were motions, appeals, policy debates. And then in 2019, a $5.5 billion monetary settlement was approved for past fees. Then we had more appeals, and in 2024, a judge rejected a newer, bigger proposal. And then here we are in late 2025, and we've got this revised proposal with fee reductions and the interchange cap. But now this is really important, it still needs final court approval. So, Michelle, can you break down the key parts of this new proposal in plain English? I know a lot of this can be kind of confusing for folks that might be listening today.
Yeah, so first, there's an interchange reduction of 10 basis points for 5 years. It's not huge, but it does help. Second, there's the 125 basis point interchange cap on certain standard consumer credit cards, and these are your basic non-rewards cards. However, premium rewards cards, things like Signature, Infinite, World Elite, are not capped. Commercial cards aren't capped either. Merchants may also get more flexibility to decline certain premium or commercial cards, but that can get risky because high-spending customers are usually the ones using those premium cards. And then there's expanded surcharging flexibility, but you still have to follow federal and state laws and network rules. And again, none of this takes effect until the court signs off. So, Shannon, even before any settlement goes through, what can merchants do right now to keep processing costs down?
Well, so there's several big levers that merchants can follow right now to really to have a significant impact on their processing fees. So for starters, they can implement a compliant surcharging program or a cash discount program. These are really great ways for business owners to share their processing costs with their customers. They can also encourage lower cost payment types, and B2B merchants should really be using Visa's new commercial enhanced data program. I mentioned that a couple minutes ago. And what that is, it's a set of new requirements that replaces the longstanding Level 2 and Level 3 interchange programs and can help certain merchants qualify for lower interchange rates. Merchants should also consider switching to transparent pricing like Interchange Plus. Something else that is really impactful, but I feel like it doesn't get a lot of airtime, is about working to avoid interchange downgrades. And there's a lot of things that merchants can do, like batching out properly and collecting the right data. And those are all things that can have a significant impact on their rates. And then finally, small businesses should work with a processor that provides analytics, transparent reporting, and things like that, so they can really understand how much they're paying and why. So, Michelle, let's talk about next how this is going to affect software companies, ISVs, and agents. It is going to impact them, right?
Yes, totally. So throughout 2026, merchants are going to be asking about this nonstop. So sales teams need to update their scripts, educate merchants on which card types are cap eligible, run interchange audits, and be prepared to talk about surcharging and cash discounts. And the big question they'll hear is, should I reject premium cards? For most merchants, probably not, but software providers need to be able to guide that conversation thoughtfully. Shannon, any advice on the compliance side? Because flexibility is great, but it comes with responsibility.
Definitely. So, if a merchant adds surcharging or other enhanced pricing programs, they have to follow state and local laws. They also have to follow the card brand rules like Visa and Mastercard's rules. There's also a lot of requirements around posting signage. They have to train their staff. And then they have to monitor their customers' reactions to these programs, just so they keep a pulse on how their customers are actually feeling about any changes that they may have rolled out. Speaking of rolling out changes, that it just goes without saying that anytime you roll out changes like that, it's always great to do a pilot program first, just so you have a better understanding of how it's going to impact your customer base. Because you don't want to hurt the customer experience just in the name of saving a few basis points. So, Michelle, something that I wanted to do today, I thought it would be kind of fun. Let's do a little lightning round, if we will. So this will be a fun way to remind our listeners of some of the key facts. So let's go. Yeah. Okay. So is the settlement final?
No, we are still waiting for court approval. Will swipe fees disappear?
Not a chance. So this just reduces a small portion of them. Can merchants reject premium cards?
Possibly, but it comes with real customer experience risk. Can you surcharge debit cards?
No, you can only apply a surcharge on credit transactions. Will customers shift behavior if there's a surcharge?
Some will, some won't. Some will move to debit, which is cheaper for merchants. And last question, when will merchants actually see savings?
Only after court approval and implementation rules take effect.
Okay, so that's the end of our lightning round. Let's talk about what merchants should do next. What should merchants be doing right now while we wait for those court updates?
So this is a great time to review interchange costs, consider a surcharge program, and partner with a processor that offers transparent pricing and other optimization tools. Because the settlement might help, but the biggest savings still come from the decisions that merchants can make today. All right, well, that wraps today's episode. There's a lot more to come as the court process moves forward.
We'll keep you posted as soon as we hear anything. And if you learned something today, hit subscribe so you'll never miss an update.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of Payment Pulse.